cranberry juice. I don't know. Some people just don't like cranberry juice because of the taste it gives off, but I actually quite I kind of find it refreshing. So what's up, guys, on social cam and YouTube? How you guys doing today? My name is Rob. That sounded kind of weird. It's like today's my name. Today my name is Rob. Tomorrow I'll be talking. No, I'm playing with you guys. My name is Rob, and this is my blog channel, and I blog about Android devices and things like that in that nature. And today I wanted to talk to you guys about a topic, and it has to do with SD cards or micro SD cards for smartphones. And I got this idea because I was cruising through the YouTube highway last night, and I was watching a couple of videos, and I seen a couple of people's videos that were posted up about their SD card basically just malfunctioning, getting damaged or whatever. It just like they didn't know how it happened. So I thought I would just give my little opinion about how SD cards function, how they work, and what could cause them to mess up, and you know, you may or may not be able to salvage them. So let's start off with the basics. Let's start off with a micro SD card and what it is. A micro SD card is a micro version of a regular SD card. And an SD card, wow, my voice cracked. An SD card is basically a memory card. So what it does is it holds information, whether it holds music files, documents, text scripts, pictures, videos. It holds files, it keeps it safe. So that's basically what it does. Now, Android smartphones, they have limited memory depending on the manufacturer and how they built the device. So, and of course, the memory that you have on your smartphone, basically, like say if it's an 8 gigabyte internal memory, then only about 4.4 or 4 gigs is actually used to store pictures, music videos, and stuff like that. The other 4 is basically the operating system takes up. So think about it like if you're computer savvy, then think about it as if it's like your C drive. So anyways, going on. So while you can store all these information on the SD card, also with most Android smartphones have expanded memory. So you can expand it by using these micro SD cards. So not only will you have the 8, basically the 4 gigs free for you to use, besides the whole fact that it has 8 gigs internal, 4 is usable to the user, you can expand the memory by getting a micro SD card, putting it in your device, and you can store pictures and all that stuff in there. But one neat feature that the Android smartphones have is that you can't push an entire application to the SD card, but you can push the bulk of it. So basically it frees up your internal memory, whereas most of the application is stored on your SD card. So that is one huge reason why people who buy Android smartphones need to have expandable memory. Like that's just one thing they look forward to when they see a device that comes out, and if it has no expandable memory, that's where people start to get just a little frustrated, because it's like you only have what's in that phone to basically save info, and people love to carry around all their info. It makes them feel safe or whatever. So that is the point of a micro SD card. That's what it is. It's just a memory card. Ugh. Wow, memory card. So anyways, these things can get damaged, just like anything else out there. Now, they're not super fragile where if you just accidentally drop them on the floor, it's going to completely mess up. But you can snap a micro SD card in half if you put enough pressure and you bend it, whatever. So, but it doesn't mean that the micro SD card and it's, what it's supposed to do, which is be an expanded memory to your Android device, doesn't mean that it's going to last forever. That's for one thing for sure. So let's get into what actually causes them to mess up. And a lot of people think that maybe it's just the phone that they got. Maybe they bought a brand new phone, they had an 8 gig SD card, they slipped their SD card in there, and then like a week later it just started acting all buggy, and then they're like, oh, this phone sucks, it messed up my SD card, and I wouldn't recommend this phone to anyone out there. And that's not totally the case. It's not so much of the fact that your new phone damaged your SD card. It has to do with just time. Time is a factor in it, just like a DVD or a CD, how it, for having it so long, even if you took super good care of it, and it starts to not fade. I wouldn't say fade. Maybe erode is what I want to look forward to. Look at in that sense. Eventually, for it being used so much, especially with like the metal connectors or copper, not copper, I believe they are. I'm not sure, but the connectors, those little metal squares you see on the card, they could get you know damage from abrasion. Just coming in and out of the card slots. That could be one thing that could actually interfere with your phone reading the SD card. That could cause it, definitely. And sometimes you just got to give it a good wipe down, and just get a little small dab of rubbing alcohol, kind of clean off those connectors, let it dry, stick it back in, and see if the phone reads it. Sometimes that will help. One of the major reasons why SD cards crap out, and it has to do with it being overworked. So micro SD cards do heat up. They're not, it's not like they're just this plastic thing and you can just stick it right there and it's all good to go. They do intend to heat up, and hold on, telling me when my battery's dying. Okay, so they do tend to heat up, and heat can actually cause a micro SD card to fail. So, when you have it, like if it's super hot or whatever, you should let it cool down. Like if you stick it in your computer and you load up information or music or movies or whatever, and you take that SD card out and it's hot, don't stick it directly into your phone. Let it sit, let it cool down, because it being so hot, it's going to damage, and then when you put it in your phone, you're going to have a damaged SD card, or it's not going to read, or it's going to read SD blank format, blah blah blah. Another thing that would cause an SD card to heat up, and we don't actually think about this too, is that it's being overworked by our smartphones. So what I mean by overworked, and this is usually the common one that kills SD cards, is the fact that it's, say you have a 32 gigabyte SD card and you push all your games, you push whatever social network application you can to that SD card to hold, the bulk of the application itself. So just leaves maybe like 5.6 megabytes of the application on your internal and like 32.87 megabytes on the SD card. Now, Android has always, run things in background. That was the main point of it. It was able to run how it should, how it's designed to. And when it runs in background, what I mean is applications and stuff run in background even if you're not using it. So say like Facebook was able to get pushed over to your SD card, but Facebook is a application that constantly runs in background. So you have the phone constantly linking to your SD card, bouncing back information in background to Facebook and everything to keep Facebook up to date. Well, if you're doing that, just think about it like this. If there's information going in and information going out, that SD card is working. It is constantly working and eventually will heat. And when it heats up, and it heats up past its its point of what it can handle, it could get damaged, and then there you go, you just burned out an SD card. So that is one major way that affects the SD card, and eventually through time of it being overworked, it's going to give up. So what could you do if you look at your screen and you see that it says SD card blank, or if it says SD damage or unsupported file system? What you could do is take the SD card out of your phone. Okay, if it's warm, let it cool down. Then if you have an adapter for your laptop or an SD card reader, then once it's cooled down, stick it in there. See if it can make a connection. See if the SD card reader can read that SD card. If it still can, and you can still get access to all your files that was on it, then take those files, put it on your laptop for a moment, and as a backup, and reformat the SD card. Once the SD card is reformatted, put all your files back onto that SD card, stick it in your phone, and see if it reads. Another thing that can help you guys out, and this is kind of like the reason, I was never really dependent on cloud storage, but there is some good that you can get from cloud storage, and that is these particular reasons. If your SD card craps out, you have backed up on the cloud storage. Vice versa, if the cloud storage system fails or whatever, you have it backed up in your SD card. So they both kind of work together as a team. So not only do you store your stuff on your SD card, but also back it up to a cloud storage. Google Drive is a really good one. If you have it on your phone and if you install it on your computer, you get 50 gigabytes free just for doing that. And then 50 gigs now, come on now, you can really use that space. It's not going to get flooded up so fast, you know, even with movies. So you also have Dropbox, SugarSync. There's tons of cloud storages out there. Back your stuff up to those things if you really need them. But yeah, so with that, hopefully you guys got a minor understanding of SD cards, and just remember that, you know, heat can damage it, overworking it can damage it. It is, yeah, it's just like every electronic component. You have too much heat, too much things done to it, and eventually, even static, and eventually it can go. So don't always think that it's your phone that's destroying the SD card. You know, it's not always just a phone that destroys it, but it's how the SD card is being used will determine it, you know, like its lifespan. So if you guys found this video to be just mildly informative, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. If you have not subscribed to my channel, go ahead and subscribe. If you're a social cam user, follow, you know, for more videos like this in the future. Thanks for watching. You guys have a great weekend. Peace.